You say you want success, but every time life applies pressure, you start complaining like you didn't sign up for this. Let me tell you something real. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. You don't get greatness without grind. You don't get strength without struggle. And you don't get results without resistance. Stop whining about the very thing that's building you. You asked for growth, but growth comes with discomfort. You asked for a new level, but new levels demand a new version of you, and that version, it's forged in fire. See, most people love the idea of success, but they hate the process it takes to get there. They want the reward without the work, the shine without the sacrifice, the victory without the battle. But life doesn't work like that. If it were easy, everybody would have it, and you weren't called to be everybody. You were called to be different. So when it gets hard, when it feels heavy, when everything in you wants to quit, that's not the moment to complain. That's the moment to push harder. That's the moment that separates the weak from the warriors. Pain is a teacher. It's telling you where you need to grow, where you need to toughen up, where you need to level up. But if you spend your time crying about it, you'll miss the lesson. And if you miss the lesson, you stay stuck. You stay average, and average should scare you more than pain ever will. You've got to change your mind. Stop seeing struggle as something to avoid and start seeing it as something to embrace. Every early morning, every late night, every failure, every rejection, it's all part of the process. It's all building your endurance, your mindset, your hunger. Champions don't run from pain, they run toward it because they know that's where the transformation happens. You don't grow in comfort zones. You grow when you're stretched, when you're tested, when you're pushed to your limits. So why are you complaining about the very thing that's making you better? That struggle you're in right now, that's your training ground. That pressure you feel, that's shaping you. That weight you're carrying, that's building your strength. But you've got to decide, are you going to whine about it, or are you going to use it? Because you can't do both. Complaining doesn't move you forward. Complaining doesn't change your situation. All it does is drain your energy and keep you stuck. But pushing, that changes everything. Pushing builds momentum. Pushing builds confidence. Pushing builds results. And it doesn't matter how slow you go as long as you don't stop. You've got to develop that dog mentality, that no matter what hits you, you keep going. No matter how tired you are, you keep pushing. No matter how many times you fall, you get back up. That's the mindset of a winner. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to settle. So the next time you feel like complaining, check yourself. Ask yourself, did I really expect this to be easy? And if the answer is no, then act like it. Stand up, square your shoulders, and attack the day. Because at the end of the day, pain is temporary, but quitting, that lasts forever. So stop whining about the process and start respecting it. You keep waiting for someone to come change your life, to give you a chance to open a door. But listen carefully, nobody owes you anything. Not success, not opportunity, not recognition. The world doesn't stop and say, hey, let's make it easier for you. No, life responds to effort, to discipline, to action. And the moment you understand that is the moment everything shifts. See, whining comes from entitlement, the belief that because you want something, you deserve it. But wanting is not enough. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to win. But not everybody is willing to put in the work when nobody's watching, when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient. That's where the separation happens. You can sit there and complain about your background, your lack of resources, the people who didn't support you, but at the end of the day, those are just stories. And stories don't build results, actions do. You've got to take full ownership of your life. No excuses, no blame, no pointing fingers. It's on you. If you win, it's on you. If you lose, it's on you. That level of responsibility is heavy, but it's also powerful. Because once you own everything, you control everything. You stop being a victim and start becoming a creator. You stop waiting and start working, and that's where real growth begins. Look around. There are people who started with less than you, who had more obstacles than you, who faced more rejection than you, and they still made it happen. Why? Because they didn't waste time whining about what they didn't have. They focused on what they could do with what they had. That's the mindset you need. Stop looking at your limitations and start maximizing your strengths. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They don't exist. You don't need more time, you need better focus. You don't need more resources, you need more creativity. You don't need more support, you need more hunger. Because at the end of the day, nobody is going to care about your dreams as much as you do. Nobody is going to fight for your future harder than you can, so why are you sitting back like someone else is responsible for your success? Get up and earn it. Earn every inch, earn every opportunity, earn every win, because when you earn it, nobody can take it from you. And yeah, it's going to be hard. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when nothing seems to be working, when you question yourself. But those are the moments that define you. That's where you prove whether you're serious or just talking. Anybody can be motivated when things are going well, but can you stay committed when everything is against you? That's the real test. You've got to develop that relentless mindset that no matter what happens, you keep showing up. You keep pushing. You keep grinding, because success isn't about luck. It's about consistency. It's about doing the work over and over again, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see immediate results. So stop whining about what you don't have and start working with what you do have. Stop waiting for someone to give you a chance and start creating your own. The power is already in your hands, you just have to use it. You keep saying you're waiting to feel motivated, waiting for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment, but let me tell you the truth. If you only move when you feel like it, you will never become who you're meant to be. Feelings are temporary. They go up and down. They lie to you. They tell you to rest when you should be working. They tell you to quit when you should be pushing. That's why discipline is everything. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is waking up early when your body is tired, showing up when your mind is distracted, pushing forward when your emotions are telling you to stop. That's the difference between average and greatness. Average people are controlled by their feelings. Great people control their actions regardless of how they feel. And that's what you've got to build, a mindset that doesn't depend on motivation, because motivation fades. It's inconsistent. It might show up today and disappear tomorrow, but discipline stays. Discipline carries you through the days when you don't feel inspired, when nothing excites you, when everything feels heavy. That's when discipline steps in and says, "We're doing this anyway." You've got to understand that success is not built on your best days, it's built on your worst days. It's built on the days when you're tired, frustrated, doubting yourself, and you still show up. That's where the real growth happens. Anybody can grind when they're feeling good, when they're motivated, when everything is going their way. But can you grind when you're exhausted? Can you stay focused when distractions are everywhere? Can you keep pushing when you don't see results yet? That's the real test. That's where winners are made. Because pushing when it's easy doesn't mean anything. Pushing when it's hard, that's what builds character, that's what builds strength, that's what separates you from everyone else. You've got to train your mind to override your emotions. When your brain says, "I'm tired," you say, "Keep going." When it says, "This is too hard," you say, "Get stronger." When it says, "Take a break," you say, "Finish the job." That's how you rewire yourself for success, and it's not going to happen overnight. It takes repetition, consistency, and commitment. You've got to show up every single day and do the work, whether you feel like it or not. Because every time you push through resistance, you build confidence. Every time you ignore your excuses, you build discipline. Every time you keep going when you want to quit, you become stronger, and over time that discipline becomes your identity. You're no longer the person who makes excuses, you're the person who executes. You're no longer controlled by your feelings, you're driven by your purpose. And that's when everything changes, because when you master discipline, you become unstoppable. You don't need perfect conditions, you don't need motivation, you don't need validation. You just need a goal and the willingness to work for it no matter what. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Those feelings are not coming to save you. You've got to decide that you're going to act regardless. That you're going to push regardless, that you're going to show up no matter how you feel, because at the end of the day, your feelings don't determine your future, your actions do. And if you can learn to master your actions, if you can learn to push through when everything in you wants to stop, then there is nothing on this planet that can hold you back. You keep talking about your problems, replaying your struggles, explaining why things aren't working. But let's be real, talking doesn't change anything. Complaining doesn't build results. Posting about your pain doesn't fix your situation. Only action does that. Only execution creates change. Every minute you spend whining is a minute you could have been working. Every excuse you repeat is time you're wasting that you can never get back. And time doesn't wait for you. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care what you're going through. It keeps moving. So the real question is, what are you doing with it? Because at the end of the day, results don't come from what you say. They come from what you do. You can have the best ideas in the world, the biggest dreams, the strongest intentions, but if you don't act on them, they mean nothing. Execution is everything. You've got to become obsessed with taking action. Not perfect action, consistent action. Because perfection will slow you down, but consistency will move you forward. Too many people are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. But let me tell you something, perfect doesn't exist. If you wait for everything to line up, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. You've got to start where you are, with what you have, and do what you can. That's how progress is made. That's how momentum is built, and once you get momentum, everything starts to shift, doors start opening, opportunities start appearing, confidence starts growing, but none of that happens until you move. You've got to take that first step, even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you're unsure. Because action creates clarity. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And the better you get, the closer you get to your goal. It's a process, but it's a process that only works if you commit to it. And yes, there will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when things don't go your way. But that's not a reason to stop. That's a reason to adjust and keep going. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every mistake is a lesson. Every loss is a setup for a comeback. But only if you keep moving. The moment you stop, the moment you start complaining instead of correcting, that's when you lose. So you've got to build that mindset that no matter what happens, you stay in motion. You stay active. You stay focused, because movement is power. Movement creates change, and the more you move, the harder it becomes for anything to hold you back. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take action. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the next one. That's how success is built, step by step, action by action, day by day. So stop wasting your energy on complaints. Stop explaining why things are hard. Stop giving life excuses and start giving it effort. Start giving it consistency. Start giving it everything you've got. Because at the end of the day, results don't lie. They reflect your habits, your discipline, your actions. And if you're not happy with your results, then it's time to change your behavior. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Take action, push forward, stay consistent, and watch how your life begins to transform.